Okay, guys, go ahead. We've got a special guest coming in here today for the Full Speed Podcast Show. It's Dana Lebel. He's like the VIP director here in Miami for the nightlife. I'm gonna tell you what, he's gonna roll off the red carpet. He's gonna show you some inside tricks, some of the inside secrets, so you can be treated like a rock star that you are. All right, welcome back to the Full Speed Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Dalius, and today we got a special guest for you. And it's Dana Lebel. He's currently the VIP director for Groot Hospitality right here in Miami. Dana, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell me, what makes Miami hot?
I mean, Miami has everything to offer. You have the beautiful weather, the beaches, obviously, you can see behind us. The women, we have an attractive local crowd here, as long as, tourists as well.
How about that nightlife scene? Talk about that nightlife.
We got some of the best nightclubs and restaurants in the United States and the world.
Now, you've been in nightlife business for how many years?
I started in 2009, so 14 years now.
14 years, okay, wow, okay. So when you first started, let's go back, 2009. Tell us about, the beginnings of what it was like here in Miami, because the landscape has totally changed.
For sure.
Completely.
Right.
And I imagine the landscape of the nightlife has changed as well.
Yeah, I mean, the nightlife always goes through changes, depending on how the economy's going, just the years that have gone on. 2008 was much different than it is now.
Yes.
It was right after the financial crash.
Yes, I felt that pain. I felt that pain in a big way. I mean, one year I'm up millions, and then the next year I'm down millions.
Right.
And so it's like it was a starting over period for myself.
Yeah.
And I like a lesson like for some of our viewers is that you can have success in life, and then if you stay in the game, which you should stay in the game because you want to grow. You're gonna run into obstacles that are unforeseen,
right.
And you just gotta learn to deal with it. You gotta learn to hit the curveballs, as I call them, and continue along the path. And so, it's interesting that you started in 2009. Were you in the financial business prior to that?
I was going to school for finance at the time.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's an interesting year to come out. You're like, okay, here I am.
I remember watching like the financial markets and seeing Bank of America for pennies on the dollar.
Yes.
And thinking, man, I wish I had a stack right now, because now is when a lot of if a lot of people lost all their investment expendable income, but if you're coming in right at that time, look where you'd be now.
And it's interesting because where we are in the marketplace right now. And the recession information, all the inflation, all that talk right there. I mean, now 2023, this is the buying season.
Right. Most billionaires, millionaires create their wealth in recessions.
Yes.
A lot of people hold back, but that's really when hopefully if you did it right, you sold high, and now is when you scoop.
You got to go against the grain.
Right.
So
which is against society's the psychology of trading and stuff like that, but it's always.
I was thinking, just go back for us. It's 2008. Is that when you graduated? 2008.
A little after that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, once I came in the nightlife, I started part time. Taking classes, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So what made you come to? You're originally from
Maine,
Portland, Maine area. Okay. And then you come down to Miami. That's a big change up, right?
Sure.
So why Miami?
I remember I was going to school in Boston.
Okay.
And my girlfriend broke up with me. I was still dating my high school sweetheart from back home in Maine.
Okay.
So my college experience there wasn't, Maine's like an hour and a half north.
Okay, gotcha.
But after she broke up with me, I remember sitting in the backseat of my friend's car, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to Miami." And I was going through like my, depression, whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. Came down here, saw the lifestyle, saw everything to do with it, and it was at that time I was like, man, this is what I see on MTV.
Right.
The beaches, the girls, the party.
This is the Dana breakout time. I love it.
So I think I came down in July. I moved, transferred by August. Done. My mom still tells the story today. She's like, I didn't believe you. I didn't believe that you were leaving until the U-Haul showed up and packed all my stuff and
made the decision.
I was out.
And it's interesting because things can change on a dime.
Right.
And I think that's super important for our listeners to understand is that, when opportunity opens up and you see it, you got to strike at it. You got to move at it. Even if it requires you moving like from Portland, Maine to Miami. I mean,
Right.
the 180.
Yep.
That change up is, I mean, that was pretty dramatic, but you did it.
Yep.
And your mom still, so dramatic, your mom still tells the story.
Yeah.
Today.
It was crazy because like in Maine, it was a much smaller town. So it was kind of like a big fish in a small town. And then transitioning to Miami was, it doesn't matter how much money, what you look like, you know, it's a big city. So that was a big, I didn't realize I was shy until I moved to Miami.
Yeah, but he's not shy, by the way.
So that was, I actually read a book on how to be more extroverted and how to introduce myself. Because I never, when I was home in Maine, I never had to learn how to introduce myself. Everyone already knew who I was. Came down to Miami, I had to like reinvent myself and learn. But
okay. Well, I like that. That's a lesson to take away too. Is you're never, it's never too late to reinvent yourself, and opening up and introducing yourself to new people and new markets and new networks. And so it's a continual process. It doesn't stop, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And you want to challenge yourself is, how big do you want to go? How big do you want to get? How much you want to spread your wings?
Right.
And so here you are, you're spreading your wings down here in Miami. You're like, okay, I got to develop this personal skill set.
Right.
And so you identified that, you recognized that, you acted on it. And so walk us through that. Like, what was your first gig down in Miami?
I was going to school here, and at the time I didn't have any money. And just we started going out. I just turned 21.
All right,
so
awesome, perfect time.
July of that year, I turned 21. I just moved to Miami in August.
Love that. So
we started going out, and I realized in order to get into the nightclubs easier or faster, you had to roll with a lot of pretty girls. So my friend and I would just start rounding up girls, and we would carpool to the nightclubs. And then eventually the manager started to notice, it was just my friend and I and at least 10 pretty girls. So they started to notice that, and they're like, oh, we'll pay you in order to pretty much do what you're doing now, and we'll give you a table and alcohol, and just to keep the environment up and party and do what you're doing.
So you were a promoter?
Right. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we were paying for drinks at that time. I'm like, wait, you'll pay me to do what we're already doing?
Yes.
Okay, sign me up.
Right, for sure, definitely. That's a good gig, especially for a 21-year-old.
Right.
In Miami.
In Miami.
Wow. Okay. How long did that last?
So eventually I started doing that, and then I started to hire other guys. So started building a team of people. So then we started to bring more and more, started to run our own parties.
I love that. So here you are, now you got your entrepreneur cap on.
Right.
You're like, oh, well, hold on. If this is working like this at this level, what if I expand and bring a team that will go out there, and what kind of things would you have that team do?
We had one person that would run the colleges, different fraternities, so different social networks.
Okay.
We had one guy that would walk the beach and would pick up tourists.
Okay.
So we were bringing, different.
You mean like to invite them out to the club?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Word of mouth marketing.
Okay.
And that's
boots on the ground.
Right.
Boots on the ground for sure, definitely.
I remember my friend and I starting out. We would walk the beach, so we would just bring the more girls and the more better party you can produce. So we would walk the beach, and we'd see guys out there with clipboards and doing we would see them get turned down all the time. So my friend and I would just walk up and would ask girls for like sunscreen lotion, or like something that was non-confrontational or something.
So give us a pickup line. Come on, give us a Dana pickup line.
We would just walk up and ask a girl for sunscreen, and then we'd thank them, and then ask them what they were doing later that night. Like, oh well, you guys are just here for the weekend. Perfect. Well, we're promoting at this venue. We have a table and alcohol, and join us.
So basically, you learn to introduce yourself, have a conversation, and gain an interest. And then you'd be like, okay, do you want to come?
Right. It wasn't a straight sales pitch. It wasn't just, hey, I'm a promoter, promoting Mansion Nightclub or blah, blah, blah. Right. So it was more just casual, and you guys are already here. Well, this is what I have also. If you guys are registered or not, it wasn't. It was more
the suave Dana comes alive. Love that. Okay, that's awesome. And so now you're going through that process. You're expanding your team, and so you can get more clubs involved. I'm sure. Right?
Yep.
It was one club.
Venues.
Doing multiple venues. Now you're getting multiple tables being set up. So what's the transition that happens from as a promoter? What's the next level? What happens there?
I can remember I was working at a Live nightclub at the time.
Okay.
And David Grutman was actually the first person to remember one of our promoter meetings we were having. It was one of my first nights at Live, or it was my first year at Live.
Okay.
And Live's a different animal.
So you're 21? Oh no,
I might have been 23.
Okay, all right. So you got 2 years under your belt.
Yeah. We already had a team. We were bringing in lots of girls.
Okay.
But I remember when Dave would go around and ask everyone what they produced, I had like 66 girls. And he was like, all right, that's cool, but how much money did you bring to the venue? And I had never booked a table in my life.
Okay.
So I was like, none. He was like, oh, okay, next. Like,
okay.
And I was, man, like, okay, so the real business and goal here is to network with clientele and bring guests who are actually buying the tables, producing revenue.
So it's interesting, like you're in this world here where, you're getting paid a little bit along the way, you're having some fun, but then you step into this world where you're sitting down with a serious businessman here, and he's like, okay, what are you doing? Dollars and cents. You're like, oh, light bulb starts going off. You say, oh, there's a better way to do this.
Right.
And if I want to get to the higher levels in business and in my career, I got to do things differently. And so light bulb goes off. And so how long did that transition last for you from like the time light bulb goes off to say, I got to do things differently to you actually did it? How long did the transition?
I would say that was 2012. By 2013, I was hired by Set Nightclub to be a VIP director.
So within a year?
Yeah.
So 1 year the light bulb goes off, 1 year later, boom, now you're being hired by the club themselves, the venue themselves.
Yeah, to handle the VIP clients and to do that.
Okay.
So I just transitioned my thinking from networking with females and bringing girls to figure out how to network with the people that was actually spending the money.
I see. And then how did you get that accomplished? Like in 2013, it was a different ballgame than it is 10 years later in 23.
Yeah. Actually, my first, which became one of my best friends, I found out one of the biggest spenders in the world at Baoli was celebrating his birthday at Baoli.
Okay.
And it was actually my birthday weekend as well. So I invited all of the set servers to my table, and we got a table. They put us right in the middle, and it was myself and 12 beautiful cocktail servers.
Okay.
And they put us right next to the billionaire. He's a billionaire. And he probably had 20 of his CEOs across the world. His company was in 88 nations, so
wow,
big company.
Okay.
And then they saw myself and 12 beautiful girls, so naturally they ended up introducing themselves, and that's how that connection.
That's awesome. And that's back in 2013?
Yes.
Okay. It's like now the club is no longer around, or is it? What club was it?
That was at Set Nightclub. No, now it's Mr. Jones.
Oh, Mr. Jones.
Yeah,
Okay, I got
Set.
you.
I forget which year they closed. I think they closed in 2015.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so you recognize an opportunity.
Right.
And,
strategically place myself.
And it's your birthday weekend, so
right.
like, I'm going to go ahead and have a little celebration.
Yep.
And so now you line yourself up, and now you start the network here. And so what happens next?
It was actually a really funny story that night. He went to another club, but then ended up coming back to Set. And since my name is Dana, we exchanged numbers, blah, blah, blah. The next night he was hosting a big dinner and he invited me, but he forgot and thought I was a female. So I showed up to and their whole company jokes about it. But he bragged about he met a beautiful blonde named Dana. His other manager at Set was a beautiful blonde named Dana.
Right.
So he was Dana. And so I get there and he has probably 30 of his guys around the table, and then I show up and like center stage right next to him. I did bring 2 girls with me, but
thank God.
Yeah. So he bragged the whole day about he has a beautiful blonde Dana coming to dinner, and then it was me. But from that day on, we've joked about it and we became best friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a funny story.
Love that story. It's a good thing you brought 2 girls with you.
Yeah. I've had to use my name of being a girl name to my advantage.
That's okay.
You got to work with whatever you're given.
Whatever you're given, whatever the circumstances are, you always got to find the silver lining and say, hey, how can I parlay this into the next thing?
Right.
That's awesome. Great story. Love that. And so talk to us about now what happens after the Set gig and they change over to Mr. Jones. You go to another company. Tell us what happens then.
At that time I left Set Nightclub. This is as I was growing.
Right.
I made a transition to I was offered a job at Story nightclub to be their VIP director.
Okay. And this what time frame is this?
This was late 2014.
Okay, gotcha.
So the nightclub industry was much different at that time. It was really two major companies. It was Live and Story, and then the Opium Group, which the Opium Group no longer exists.
Okay.
And they
We're getting the history of Miami nightlife right here.
Right. They at that time it was a little more cutthroat. Like after I tried to go to Story nightclub, they threatened to sue.
Oh wow.
So I ended up not being without a job at that time.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. The twists and the turns.
Right.
In career building, in business building. It's you gotta know how to maneuver out there, and it sounds like obviously lasting this long. 14 years in the business. I mean, you definitely know the right moves.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at that time, that could have been the end of my career.
Sure.
I ended up moving to Orlando, Florida. I only lasted 45 days there.
I was gonna say, what was Orlando like, man, for 45 days? Coming from Miami, what was that about?
Much different. I have good friends that run the Orlando scene up there.
Okay.
They do really well for themselves.
Totally different scene, though.
Yeah, it is. Much more college.
Okay, I got you.
So I realized that, but then Mint Lounge called me, and they were like, "We need you back."
Okay.
And I was at that point, I was kind of like, I had a bad experience, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not coming back."
Didn't the owner of Mint, weren't they in some kind of reality TV show?
Yeah, Roman Zago's wife. They did the Real Housewives of Miami.
Okay. So you were involved around that time?
Not during the show,
Okay.
but the reason why they were filming another reality show. So I forgot that I did like a little pilot or like a little interview like years back, but eventually it came to that, and they were like, "We need Dana." So Roman found where I was and then got me back.
Okay, all right.
So we filmed the pilot there.
That's super interesting. Okay, so you were there for the pilot.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up working there for a few years before I transitioned to Live, but.
Okay. What was it? What was that? What was the hype around that going on?
They wanted to film a reality TV show about like Miami nightlife.
Yeah, for sure.
It would have been really interesting. Hollywood filmed it.
Okay.
Paid for the pilot. They ended up picking another show that was their worst ratings in history. I think ours would have been really good. But
no doubt.
It was kind of a blessing too. Like I didn't really want to
You weren't ready for that? You weren't ready for that?
No, I had a family, and I knew they would try. I had a girlfriend. It ended up being my fiance, and but I knew. They're like, "Oh no, we're gonna portray you as the good guy, the dad, in a relationship, but surrounded around a lot of beautiful girls, running cocktail servers." And
okay.
I can see how that's really gonna play out, though.
There was definitely going to be conflict there
for sure.
But it's super interesting that you were right there on the cusp of Dana, the reality TV star.
Right.
Maybe it'll still come around.
Maybe.
Now it's interesting because the Kardashians, they filmed down here. They had a season in Miami.
Right.
They probably did a bunch of things here with Grutman. I don't know if you were around during that time frame, but it must have been interesting to see them come. Maybe they don't do too much filming inside the clubs.
Yeah, but I definitely remember Kim, and they all come. They hang out in the DJ booth.
Yes.
So they just did the 818 alcohol release at Live.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Her sister.
Yes, yeah. I think is it Kylie?
Yeah, she owns the brand.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, they have it in Swan too, I think.
Right. So they do a lot of like album release parties at Live, and a lot of big alcohol sponsorships.
So it's interesting. So we have a lot of artists that tune into our show.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of performance opportunities that happen. At Story, and I've been there with you there, and Live, and what advice could you give, kind of being on the front line of this and seeing artists coming through, that you give to these startup artists that are coming? What advice could you give to them?
Just continue to build your brand. Brand awareness is everything. So the more following you have, that's what clubs look for. Is when we put that artist's name on the screen, or how much more people are they going to come through our doors?
I got you. So they're looking at numbers like anything else.
Right. What's going to be our return on our investment?
Okay, I got you. So they're looking at your number, like your social followers.
Sure.
I'm sure looking at probably the engagement on the social platforms. Okay, that's cool. And how many performances are they doing? I mean, you're doing 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week.
Yeah, I mean, now with our lounges, we're open 6 nights a week. We have a party every single night of the week.
Wow. Okay. And so now, are you always having artists perform?
Not always. I mean, some of our lounges, we don't have an artist perform every night, but Live in Story, we have an artist every single night.
Okay. All right. So there's always opportunities that are coming up for the artists that are, coming up through the ranks, so to speak, and are starting to now, break out. And that lies the opportunity.
Right.
And so, what you got to do is just keep focusing in on building that craft up, building those songs up, engaging with those followers, increasing your fan base, and then, you got to perform well too.
Right.
Like they're gonna look at you like you got to perform other places, right?
For sure.
On the come up. So it's okay to perform in those smaller venues. And like at Music Swipe, one of the things that we did is we locked in with Breaking Sound.
Okay.
And Breaking Sound is really an LA-based company, but they have venues throughout the world, and they do about 100 shows a month.
Right.
And so, but it's great for the small independent artists to perfect their craft,
right.
perfect their performance, their live stage.
Until you get on the big stage. I mean, Liv, you have 1,500 faces in front of you.
You got some big names coming through that one. I mean, tell us about some of your experiences with these big name artists. Like tell me a story, like a recent one that's come through, maybe Stories, come through Live. You had New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah, we had everybody.
Talk about New Year's Eve. Let's talk about that.
Right.
That's recent.
New Year's Eve was actually, we had Marshmello perform and Khaled. Then the nice Live on Sunday that had.
Oh, the day after.
Yeah, the day after.
Okay.
We had
like the party didn't stop here in Miami.
Yeah, we kept going.
We kept going. January 1, it's a party night.
Right.
It's
Miami was probably almost a week. I mean, we had everybody that week.
It's New Year's.
We started Tuesday. So Tuesday after Christmas, our first party was Tuesday night with Alesso.
Okay, so there
we had Alesso, Tiesto the next night. It was a big week.
Well, I remember going there for my birthday.
Yep.
And who was performing that night at Live? We had the one gal that was performing there, and Brazilian gal. And we'll have to. Anita. So sorry, Anita. Beautiful performance.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about
her following, massive. Like people will come from all South Florida to come see her. A huge Brazilian following. And,
insane.
So
and by the way, this isn't like 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. This is like 3 a.m.
Right.
Okay.
People will stay.
And it was absolutely jam-packed. But Dana, he knows how to take care of the VIPs. All right. He knows how to make sure you get the red carpet treatment, as I call it. And he's always taking care of myself, my family, and our business. And we really appreciate all the love that you've given us here over the years. But he's the go-to guy right here. VIP, nightlife, Miami, Dana Lebel, bro. He'll set you up, turnkey, make it happen like you've never seen it before. All right. And we're talking like if you want to go like middle of the road, no problem. But if you want to go big, like this guy make it happen big, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And so tell us a crazy story. I know you can't use names, all right? But like, what's the craziest like bottle service deal that you have? Like, this guy went nuts.
I mean, just the other night we had someone spend $120,000 on one night.
120 G's, baby. So if you want to party, Miami, VIP style, this is the man, right? Now you don't need to have a 6-figure budget
for sure
to do it. But I mean, this is the capability. So if you're listening, you got the 6-figure budget party, Dana's my man. He's the man, right? I love that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's very extravagant,
Of course.
That's a big night.
I would be like, is he taking over like half of the? You're not gonna take over the whole deal, but you're taking over half of the club? Probably not, right? That's a table.
Right,
it's a table, baby.
Yeah.
It's a table.
I love that. 2 tables they had.
And so what's like the alcohol that drives that thing up?
I mean, champagne.
Champagne.
You start getting with the bigger bottles, the Gero bombs.
Oh, geez. Okay.
We have one bottle that retails for $120K.
So it's probably tall as you.
Yeah. Almost.
It takes 4 girls
Right.
To pour the bottles
It
out.
does. Yeah, it's a unique bottle to pour.
I've seen that happen in Vegas.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it takes at least 2 girls.
So now, speaking of Vegas, have you ever thought about, going and doing some, the nightlife in Vegas at all?
We thought. I mean, the Fountain Blue's actually opening in Vegas now. They're finishing up at constructions, and it'll be open
I've heard
next
about
year,
this.
yeah.
This is like years in the making.
Right, yeah.
It's finally coming through.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, and that's scheduled to come up when?
I believe by the end of next year they'll be open up.
So they offered you an opportunity out there, maybe?
There'll be opportunity to switch back and forth, but
Okay.
I mean, I think my home is Miami.
Miami.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You struck it here, and you stay right here, and
Yeah, I have
got your family right here.
Right.
Okay, I got you. All right. So then, Dubai. Have you been to Dubai?
I have been to Dubai.
Okay. And what's the nightlife there in Dubai?
I mean, it's a different environment there.
Okay.
The money is much different there.
It's big.
Yeah, it's big money.
I mean, there's this show on Netflix called Dubai Bling or something like that. Have you seen about that one?
I haven't seen it. I've
It's
heard
insane. I mean, anybody listening to that one, 120,000, nothing.
Right.
I dropped $500,000.
of it. Right. Yeah, money is no object.
On a Tuesday night.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, so Dubai is a lot of money's going to Dubai, big time, right? Now you've been in Dubai, you've experienced it a little bit of the nightlife, maybe more of if you took a family, you're probably more of the restaurant scene.
Right. Yep.
Okay, but you've heard the rumors about the nightlife, right?
Yes.
Insane.
Yeah, for sure.
Insane. Okay.
I think the party's definitely better in Miami.
Of course.
But-
of course. Yeah. You got this is a real beach.
Right.
This is real water right there. Okay. But that's cool. But listen, there's opportunities for sure here in Miami, no doubt about it.
Yep.
And then of course you got the reach out for the Vegas, the reach out for the Dubai.
Yeah, our network is everywhere. Wherever there's bottle service restaurants, we're definitely connected there.
Now, I know you're an entrepreneur.
Yep.
Okay. And you talk about, how you started off here in the nightlife business and, how you have to work yourself up and you have to think smart. You got to go ahead and develop a team out until you can expand yourself and then you learn along the process. But now along the way, you've had some entrepreneur opportunities that have come up. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I started off in nightlife. I started to meet titans of their industry or really important people, mostly I would say probably 90% of the people spending that additional income on, the night out, on bottle service,
right.
either own their own company. I would say,
right.
they're business owners.
Right.
And I went to school for business. So I saw this opportunity of being in the club to increase my network with high net worth individuals. And, as I became friends with them on a different level, I learned of what they did along the way. Okay. And my goal always was to be an entrepreneur. So, when I realized that I could build up my network and then transition that to whatever business I wanted to start, I could reach out and, build contacts that way.
Give us an example of a business that you started along the way.
Now I have 2 companies, but I started to realize, I never wanted to ask for a raise.
Okay.
So I just looked at what I could do separately in the club that would produce income.
So you're taking a look at your environment that you're involved with.
Right.
And you're looking around and you say, okay, what in my environment is being underserved?
Yeah.
Okay. And so give us an example of what happened there.
One was that I was at Mint. I started a lighting company to increase bottle sales production.
What kind of lighting service? Lighting the bottles up?
Yeah, I mean the stick lightings like signs. We started an LED lighting sign. One of the first ones I made, I can show it to you later, was a Bitcoin sign. So it was a
Bitcoin man right here. Love that.
It was LED, rainbow, and it would, because I was in the crypto community, so that was just starting, or not just starting, but people were just starting to spend their crypto money.
And now, what year was this?
Late 2017.
Oh, yeah. That was the first run up to 20,000.
Right, yeah, it was before.
I was part of that one.
Yep.
I was part of that, baby. I love that.
I accepted it as a way to pay for bottles, was to send crypto, Bitcoin. So
you actually took Bitcoin in?
Correct.
Nice payment.
I did it, yep.
That's good. Did you hold on to it? Did you hold it as an investment?
Half of it. I had to sell something.
Not enough.
To get into my other company, which is the ATMs.
Okay.
ATM business.
So interesting. So you start this lighting the bottles service, all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. And then you start tapping into this crypto market.
Right.
and then you realize you got a pretty good investment there. That thing starts rolling up before it came down that one time. And so then you cash out of that and you parlay those profits into another business?
Correct.
Which one was that?
The ATM business.
Okay.
So
that sounds like cash.
Yeah, it's a cash business. You place their ATM at most nightclubs, bars, restaurants. I mean, you see the most of the ATMs you see are, if it's in a bank, all the outside ones are privately owned. So one of my clients ran his own ATM business, and I just started asking questions about it. They're one of the biggest in Florida. All the gas stations they run has over 1,000 locations. And I was like, wait, like there's an ATM in my club.
Right.
I put it in, and it's like an 8% surcharge. So I just started asking how that works, and then I used my nightlife connections, bought my own ATM, and asked the owner, I'm like, well, why don't you use my ATM instead of this other company? And then I just started to grow that way, and then other nightclubs, and started to grow that way.
Yeah, again, it's like you have this wheel of your business, and then the nightlife, and then you see these spokes coming off. Well, I could probably sell more bottles if I light it up and put a show on, right? And then have a sign.
Right. Just look at what happened with Dom Perignon. Once they put the Luminous, their sales skyrocketed.
Yeah, I love those bottles like that. It was fantastic.
Right. You don't see one in a nightclub that's not lit up.
That's right. No, definitely. Okay, so that was probably your idea.
It wasn't. I wish.
I'll take credit for that one.
Right.
And then you get exposed to this crypto scene, and so what's your thoughts about crypto? I know you gone through the 2017,
right,
and then you go through this 2020, 2021 rise up, and then the 22 fall down,
right,
and now we back up again. Now we're back on the climb.
Yeah.
You feeling it?
Yeah.
You feeling it?
I don't know if we're full into a bear market yet, but
no, I know, but I'm feeling the climb back.
Yep. Yeah,
I'm feeling the climb back.
We had a little downturn, and
so it was tough. It was 2022 Miami crypto scene.
Yeah, they had a lot of different stuff that happened.
Kind of impacted a little bit
just bad stuff that happened. Get out the retail investors, but I think that the long-term look. I mean, the crypto and online assets are the future.
I love
sure.
that. I love that.
The security behind blockchain. And
any talk about the Groot Hospitality getting into any kind of NFT kind of stuff?
We have an NFT at Komodo.
Oh, okay. Talk about that.
We already have one. You get an exclusive dessert that only members of the NFT owners can have it.
Okay.
I definitely think there's a future that will develop within Groot. I can't talk about it per se, but it's David. But I think they're definitely Dave. I know Dave's positive into crypto, and
for sure.
we definitely were an innovative company, so we're always looking for the next thing. And
now, what about your ATMs? Do you think you'll expand into the Bitcoin ATMs at all?
Our company does it. I don't personally own any right now.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, we do them.
Okay, yeah, I think that'd be super interesting.
Yeah.
So talked about some other business. I mean, you talk about lighting business, talk about ATM. Any other businesses that you've been involved with as an entrepreneur?
Yes, right now, and I think this is my future is attorney marketing.
Okay.
We do
attorney marketing.
Yeah.
So for our viewers, what exactly does attorney marketing mean? Besides marketing for attorneys.
Yeah, we acquire cases for attorneys. So we do the digital marketing, TV advertisement. We have a call center. We specify into mass tort advertisements. So our biggest one right now is Camp Lejeune.
Okay. I think I've seen your ads.
Yeah, it might not have been mine, but
does it come pop on ESPN or something like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I'm trying to watch the game.
Right. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of them. It affected a lot of people, over 1 million service people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's sad.
Yeah.
They contaminated water.
Wow.
So we do marketing for those type. We acquire the people that have been affected. Introduce them to the attorneys.
So how did you get into that business? How does that fall? Is that through the nightclub? Met somebody?
Yeah, one of my other clientele.
Crazy, right?
So I become friends with them, and how can I help them?
So it's super interesting. I was just listening to a podcast, I don't know, today or yesterday, but they were talking about the beginnings of Peter Thiel with PayPal, right? And so his prior company that he had started, I don't remember the name anymore, because after spending, $100 million over a 2-year period, they never went anywhere, right? Because they were developing a payment system through a Palm Pilot. Okay, the Palm Pilots was a hot system back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but then it fell off. But what came out of that development was how to transact through email,
Right.
which was the beginning genesis of PayPal. So my point is this, is that, it's not always where you start,
Right.
okay? And even if that opportunity closes up, you'll get some gems that will come out that you can parlay into the next thing.
Right.
And you just got to be smart enough to realize it, to recognize it. And so I think what's happening with you is that, you made a great name for yourself in the nightlife business here in Miami as go-to guy, VIP director, rude hospitality. I mean, the guy rolls up the red carpet, no doubt about it. But you've also expanded your entrepreneur spirit into other businesses that you thought could fit the marketplace, what you're doing, like the lighting, like the ATM.
Right.
But now you've expanded something else because of the network that you're building and the contacts you come in with.
Right.
So,
and that's exactly what I did, because one of my other clients holds a big marketing company, one of the biggest in the nation. So I linked them into this niche market of mass tort advertising, which they're new into, but they have 300 employees, and the attorney marketing space was very segmented and fragmented, a lot of smaller companies. So I merged the two together, and hopefully.
So you're a connector as well too.
Correct, yeah.
Not only do you see these opportunities as an entrepreneur, and you act on them, which is 90% of the job is acting, right?
Right.
Like, if you could share with our listeners here, our viewers, something that a piece of advice, something you could tell them, whatever they're doing, if they're just getting started out in business, if you had a piece of recommendation you could give to them, what would it be?
That there's no such thing as failure. If you can take something positive and learn from all your mistakes, just roll over. Never give up. That's really I've had multiple things that I've tried, failed. But I picked up something each time, and you're never perfect, but as long as you continue, never give up.
Well, tell us about like your biggest disaster.
Might have been the lighting company.
All right. Well, it sounded pretty good.
It is in other companies.
What happened?
We didn't utilize China, for the cheaper products. So we were spending too much on design, and that wasn't my side of the business. So I didn't know, some of the stuff that we brought out was too heavy. So that's what I was doing the investing, and I had the connections base. I could put them in a lot of the nightclubs, but I didn't have any of the design part of the business. So
I see.
And the guy who I had at the time just wasn't up to par. So we failed on that aspect. I started bringing in contracts, and I couldn't fulfill the orders because of our design.
Oh, I see. So,
just the infrastructure.
So you could sell it.
Correct.
But the back end, you couldn't fill it.
Right.
And so therefore it was crumbling apart
Right.
before you even got started.
Right.
And a lot of times in business, that is a tricky situation to be in. And most businesses, most companies are not well funded to be able to have all those things. You have to play that balancing act, so to speak, if balance is the right word. But but you have to realize or create that market and understand the market exists, and then you have to act on it, which you did. But then as soon as that action goes, now you have to have the back end put together, and this evolves hands-on streamlining. And a lot of times what some companies will do is that they'll get too heavy on the design. They'll get too heavy on...
They'll spend too much money.
They'll spend too much money because they want to get the volume discount. All right, that's the biggest pitch, right? Well, if you spend so much, I get you the better deal. And so my recommendation, because I made this mistake too, multiple times. My recommendation is continue. Don't worry about getting the volume discount right now. Like, you're at the beginning stages.
Right.
Like, just fulfill the order, right? Like, if you're collecting $100 and the volume discount will get you down to under 10, but if you buy them piece by piece, it'll cost you 20, 25, like more than double. Pay the more than double in the beginning because you will save money in the long run.
Right.
Okay? And so that's a big piece of advice that a lot of entrepreneurs get themselves caught up with, because they will get caught up in the fact that I don't have the money to do it, so it's dead water. They don't think about, okay, I'll pay more per piece, okay? Or they'll overspend and run out of money.
Right.
Okay.
And then you have to think about where you're going to store it, so that's rent on utilities.
Yes. And that's just the beginning.
Right.
And
that's your funding is your capital is your bloodline.
Yes. So it's the easiest thing in business to do is spend money. That's the easiest thing to do, right?
Right.
Okay. what you have to do is you have to learn to manage that. And that's all a process, right? It all takes time and experience. And you can condense that time by getting a lot more experience under your belt sooner. And making mistakes, and we all make mistakes, right? There's not a single person that doesn't make mistakes. So you know what I tell everyone? Just get over it.
Make it, and then you learn something.
Yeah,
and
just get over it, right?
Right.
It's like Tony Robbins says, go and make that mistake, make it big and make it fast.
Right.
And then rip the Band-Aid off and get on. Keep going.
People that are scared to make mistakes, they ended up in, they just don't do anything. They don't take action on it because they're scared of.
Exactly.
And then nothing gets done.
They get paralyzed.
Right.
In that fear. It's like, you get this one, the deer in headlights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they try to analyze too much.
In Portland, I think it's the moose.
Right, the moose. Much bigger than the deer.
I was driving in Portland once. I went to Portland once. I was driving to Portland, and it was just that twilight time, And now, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so we had deer all over the place, right? So I know the size of deer. And I saw this thing in the middle of the road. I said, what in the world is this beast? This is like, a deer on steroids times 10.
Right. Yeah, they sit 10, 12 feet tall.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And it's scary because your car will hit their feet and their knes, and the whole body comes down on the the glass, the windshield.
Yeah, you get
hit
crushed.
Your hood.
Yeah, you get crushed. Yeah, no, it's scary. So driving in Portland, be careful of the moose.
Yeah, especially more up north in Maine.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
Yeah,
you have the sign for the deers. We have a moose.
I saw it. I saw it. Insane. But no, that's great. So anything else that you want to talk about today? Anything else you want to get out there? I mean, you've done some amazing things. We're super excited that you came on the show here today.
Thank you.
We've covered a lot of ground. I think you dropped a bunch of gems for our listeners, our viewers here today. And anything else, closing remarks you want to make?
We hope to have you guys down. Come out with Eric, Music Swipe.
Woo!
Being involved in Music Swipe, that community is gold. I mean, I see the way you take care of people, the way the mentorship along. That's really important.
Awesome.
Upcoming artists. I think that's also one of the key things is find someone that's been there with what you've done, where you want to go.
Yeah.
Because they'll show you the little, if you can minimize the mistakes, don't be scared of making mistakes, but if you can minimize them by having mentorship, you'll put you way ahead of the game. That's awesome. We appreciate that. Yeah, mentorship's the key, masterminding, all those great things are coming together at Music Swipe here. We come down to Miami, we party with Dana, VIP treatment, and it'll be a blast. But well, listen, Dana, appreciate you coming here, baby. Hey, thank you so much. Love you guys. That's a wrap, baby. Thank you. Let's go. Hey guys, hope you liked that show. That was pretty awesome with Dana, man. Some great stuff there, that rock star treatment. When you're in Miami, you need to go ahead and come here. But listen, that's the fun thing about these podcasts, that you get the inside track of things. What you can do, what I would do, is I would go ahead and like it, I would subscribe it, and make sure you tune in every Full Speed Friday.